rock and metal invasion. My name is Steve. Coming up on the show today, I'm doing when pop/rock goes hard/heavy. So I'm talking about artists or groups who are known for mainly doing pop rock type music, putting out a song that would qualify as being hard rock or even maybe heavy metal. Alright, so I'm going to start off with an artist who has a surprisingly good amount of hard rock songs for someone who you would think is just a pop artist, and that is Samantha Fox. Now, I don't actually have a huge Samantha Fox collection. In fact, this is it. I've got the Samantha Fox gift pack. Not quite sure why it's called that, but it's just a 12-inch single. It's got a number of songs on it. It's got 4 different songs on it, extended mixes, so forth. But the song on here that I think qualifies as a hard rock song is Do Ya Wanna Please Me. That is a track from her debut album, Touch Me. It was successful. The title track was a big hit. But Do Ya Wanna Please Me is definitely a hard rock song. If you want to check it out, there's a music video. There's actually the band that is playing in the music video is a band called Cherry Bombs, which features Andy Suicide, I think his name is, from Hanoi Rocks. That was a band that he formed when Hanoi Rocks finished up. Now, I don't think him and the band are actually playing the music on the recording, but they are the backing band in the music video. So, yeah, check that one out. But not only that, that's the only song from Samantha Fox that I've got, but I've created a Spotify playlist for some of the songs that I'm going to be talking about today, and on my Spotify playlist, Samantha Fox also has Rocking in the City, which was like a bonus track from the Touch Me album. It's in the deluxe edition. So that's a rocking song. Spirit of America is like a really, I really like that song. It's melodic hard rock, AOR song. So yeah, Spirit of America. Also Hot For You, Hot Loving. There are 2 other songs that definitely fit the hard rock category. In fact, Hot Loving is a song that was produced by Chris Sangarides. I think that's how you say it. Now, Chris Sangarides, he's quite a well-known metal producer. He produced albums for Anvil and Judas Priest. Sadly, he passed away a couple of years ago. But so yeah, he did the production on that song. That's definitely a hard rock song. So yeah, so Samantha Fox on my Spotify playlist, which is called Rock and Metal Invasion presents rock / pop goes hard and heavy. I'll put the link in the description. Yeah, there's actually 5 songs from Samantha Fox in that playlist. Alright, next up, now this artist only has the one, and it is from the album True Colours. This is, of course, Cyndi Lauper, quite a well-known artist. Fairly well-known album, this one, but the track I chose is Change of Heart. Now, I remember hearing that song back in the day, back in 1986. This is before I really got into hard rock and metal, and I actually purchased this album. I was more into the pop rock stuff at that point, and my favourite song off the album is Change Your Heart. It's got a really nice guitar riff, and I definitely would say it is a little bit pop, but it's definitely got some hard rock elements to it. So I'm going to count that one, and it's a really good song. So check that one out, Change Your Heart by Samantha Fox. Alright, next up, now this is a pretty obvious one. So again, we're talking about pop/rock artists who sort of get into the hard rock metal category. And this artist, Michael Jackson, he did do that from time to time with his albums. Of course, he did it on Thriller with Beat It, when he had Eddie Van Halen come in and do a solo on that song. And that song has a really nice riff on it, doesn't it? But then for his next album, Bad, he got, I guess, who he thought was the next hot guitarist that was around at the time. And he got Steve Stevens from Billy Idol to come in, and he performs on the song Dirty Diana, which is a great song. And yeah, so Michael Jackson, he usually always had one hard rock song on his album. And in fact, the next example, or the next album after that, is another example from Dangerous. He had the song Give In To Me, which featured Slash on guitar. So again, choosing, I guess, who's the most happening guitarist at the time, Slash. So he comes in and does some guitar work on Give In To Me, which is another great song. So I was always interested, even though, by the time Michael Jackson's album Dangerous came out, I wasn't really following the pop rock stuff too much, but I always kept my eye on Michael Jackson because, he did have a habit of putting one or two hard rock songs on each of his albums, which is probably why he had so much success, because he catered to a lot of different musical tastes. Say what you like about the man as a person, or some of the things that have come up in the news about him, but you can't deny his songwriting abilities, his musical abilities. Definitely. There's probably, I've given you 2 or 3 examples there from Michael Jackson. There's probably some other ones like Black and White also, it might qualify as a hard rock song. So, definitely an artist who catered or, transferred over to the hard rock audience at some time. And talking of someone with the last name Jackson, his sister Janet Jackson also did a hard rock song. Now, this is, to my knowledge, her only one, and it's a fairly well-known song. This is Black Cat. It's a single. I think it was a bit of a hit for her, but it's got a really nice guitar riff on it, and I really like this song. So, Black Cat by Janet Jackson. I'll show a couple of 45s that I've got now. This is another one that's a 45, and the reason I've got it as a 7-inch is because, and that's the case with some of these, it's just a one-song kind of deal, no other songs on the album I liked. This is Queen, and I Want It All. Now, you could argue that Queen is actually a hard rock band, so it's not a case of, pop rock going hard rock, but I would also argue that in the 80s, they got a little bit more pop at times than rock, and, 70s, absolutely, they were quite a heavy band. Definitely a hard rock band in the 70s. 80s, perhaps not so much. And so, I think it was it was for me a bit of a surprise when I heard this song, I Want It All. That is a really killer riff, great guitar work by Brian May, there he is. And I really like that song, but there's not much else from the 80s that I'm a big fan of as far as Queen is concerned. But I like that song. Now this one here, John Farnham, this is a song called Break the Ice. Now he's of course known, I guess he was a member of Little River Band. His solo materials, definitely I think you'd have to put it in the pop rock category. But in the mid-80s he started to do some soundtracks, did some, produced some songs that would definitely fit the hard rock, maybe AOR type category. And this is a good example of that. This is Break the Ice, a really good song. And he's got some other songs too that would fit the hard rock category. That, like I said, you probably find them on some soundtracks from the mid-80s. Alright, this one here, a little bit similar, I suppose, to Michael Jackson. Huge artist. This is Prince. And, of course, this is a very famous album, Purple Rain. Now, to my knowledge, he didn't really then carry on with the rock stuff much after this album. I could be wrong, because I haven't followed him that closely. But I was definitely a fan of this album when it came out, and the singles. So Purple Rain, Let's Go Crazy are the songs I would consider hard rock. So it's got some nice guitar work on those songs. And yeah, this is a great album. I really like When Doves Cry as well, but on this album. So, yeah, definitely a couple of hard rock songs on that album. That's a well-known one, of course. Also another well-known artist. This is Tina Turner. Now, on the album prior to this, I think it might have been called Private Dancer. She had a song called Show Some Respect, which I would almost maybe think about categorizing that as a hard rock song. It's a great song, one of my favorites from Tina Turner. But I've decided to go with Back Where You Started. Now that's from this album. It's a song that is actually written by Jim Vallance and Bryan Adams. And you could just imagine that song on a Bryan Adams album. So it's a good rock song and hard rock song, really. It's quite heavy. And yeah, Tina Turner sounds great on it. So that's worth checking out. So that's on the Spotify playlist as well. And I think it was released as a single. Maybe not a big hit, but it was, I think, a single, and yeah, like I said, good song. Alright, moving on now to Cher. Now, she's, of course, been around for a while. She made a bit of a comeback, I guess, in the mid to late 80s. She hooked up with Richie Sambora from Bon Jovi. They were actually going out at the time when this album came out, I think. And she also, when she made this album, hooked up with Desmond Child and, some of the songwriters who were writing big hits at the time, and I'm gonna say there's 3 songs on here that would fit the hard rock category. Now they are "We All Sleep Alone," which is actually written by John Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora along with Desmond Child. But also "Bang Bang" is a song that is a remake of an old Cher song, but they've sort of, it's got a bit more of a rock aspect to it. So I like that one. I think that's a good song. So I'm going to put that in the hard rock category. And then a lesser known one, it opens up side 2, "Perfection." That's a song written by Desmond Child and Diana Warren. That's a good hard rock song. It's lesser known, I don't think it was a single, but yeah, check out "Perfection." And following on with some more Cher, this is from "Heart of Stone." Not so much hard rock on this one, but there is one song I think that is worth checking out, and that is Emotional Fire, written by Desmond Child, Diane Warren, and Michael Bolton. And that's, I think, qualifies as a hard rock song, and I really like that song. So it's only reason I really got this album is for that one song, but it's a good one. So check that out. Next up, now this one is a case where you could argue the artist is a hard rock artist, but I'm going more on their past. So here, this is Andy Taylor, and the album is Thunder. So he definitely he's got the hard rock look on the back there, he's playing the guitar. You would think this guy is a hard rocker. And, to be fair, this is probably a hard rock album. It's got songwriting and production by Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols. And "I Might Lie" is one of my favourite rock songs from the 80s. Really, and killer guitar work on it. Just sounds awesome. I really love that song. To be honest, not a lot of the other songs on this album do a lot for me, but I do like "I Might Lie," so check that out. But of course, the reason I'm putting this one on here is because Andy Taylor used to be in the pop band Duran Duran, or is in the pop band Duran Duran, but wasn't, I don't think. I think at this time he'd left to do some solo work, and yeah, so check it out, "I Might Lie." Alright, now next one, this is an artist who you wouldn't think would be in the hard rock or metal category, but this particular album was listed at number 9 on Chuck Eddy's book 500 Greatest Heavy Metal Albums of All Time, and that was a bit controversial and a bit unusual, I think. And the album was Emerald City by Tina Marie. So she's more like R&B, sort of, funk kind of artist. Not really hard rock, but sometimes people, when they talk about this album, do say this is her sort of heavy metal album. It's definitely not metal, but it does have some more rock elements to it. I guess a little bit. It's getting a little bit like Prince when he sort of rocks out a little bit. Yeah, the fact that it made that number 9 on the great 500 greatest heavy metal albums is, I think, a personal choice by the author perhaps. But I do like the song "Lips to Find You." "Lips to Find You" is, I think I'm going to put that down as a hard rock song. So it's on my Spotify playlist, and if you like hard rock, you might like that song. Again, it's one of those situations where I've got the album, but really just for that one song. Although she also did put out a song called, I think it's called "Lover Girl," and I don't mind that. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a huge Tina Marie fan. Alright, another one that's really just, I've got the album just for the one song, and this is Marilyn Martin, and you'll see here on the hype sticker it says includes the single "Night Moves," and "Night Moves" is the song I'm talking about. Really good 80s rock song. It's not super heavy, but it's definitely got some nice guitar work in there. Great hook on it. Surprisingly, wasn't a big hit. She's quite well known for her duet that she did with Phil Collins. I think that's her big sort of claim to fame. She had a hit song with him, doing a duet. but Night Moves was also covered by Joe Lynn Turner, and so he's done a cover of it. It's a little bit more, definitely more hard rock in his version, but this is still 80s rock, I'd say. The version on this album, and I really like it. Good song. And then last up, I'm going to finish, well, it's almost last up. This is Rex. Now this is, Rex Smith is the person here on the cover and the vocalist. Now he's quite well known for being often being a co-host on Solid Gold in the early sort of 80s. And at that time he would usually, from time to time he'd do sort of duets with someone, and it would be, just real pop kind of stuff, not heavy at all. This is maybe more of an example of someone who went from rock to pop. So perhaps not quite fitting the theme, but I really wanted to mention it because he's kind of known as a bit of a sort of a early, at least in the early 80s, as a bit of a sort of heartthrob, and they were going for that sort of that big pop star sort of thing in the early 80s, and he had the Solid Gold connection there. But, and he never, when the 80s came along, he never really got back to the rock that he was doing on this album. This album rocks pretty hard, as you can see the guys in the back, they look like hard rockers, don't they? And, I don't have a huge I don't have a huge collection of 70s rock, but I do really like the song 10 Seconds of Love. Check that out, because for me, that almost sounds a little bit ahead of its time, that song. 10 Seconds of Love is a great song. So I put that on my Spotify playlist. If you haven't heard 10 Seconds of Love, check that out by Rex. And finally, I'll go through some of the songs on my Spotify playlist that I don't actually have. But just before I do that, I'll mention, this is Berlin. I've only got them on cassette. I don't have a lot of, as you may know if you watch my channel, I don't have a lot of cassettes, but I picked this up cheap and I thought, I'm going to get this because I know there's one song on here I like. Of course, this does have the song Take My Breath Away, which is the big hit song. But the song I like on here is a song called Trash, and it features guitar work by Ted Nugent. Bob Ezrin does the production. He does the production on other songs on this album as well. But yeah, check out Trash by Berlin. Not really known as a hard rock band. I don't think really. I mean, they're not soft, but more of a rock band. But that's quite a hard rocking song. Like I said, Ted Nugent does the guitar work on it. So Trash by Berlin. Now that's not on my Spotify playlist because for whatever reason, Count 3 and Pray is not on. By Berlin is not on Spotify. Alright, so just having a look at my Spotify playlist of, songs that I don't actually really have in my collection. Well, I've got them on compilation albums, but I'm not going to bother showing them. So Money for Nothing by Dire Straits, that's quite a well-known one, isn't it? They're sort of a pop rock band who, Money for Nothing, that's that riff that kicks off that song. It's definitely got to qualify as a hard rock song. Now this one's an interesting one that I only found out about quite recently. Diana Ross and Fool for Your Love. Go check that out, because Diana Ross is not someone I ever expected to be putting out hard rock songs, but she did, and if you check out Fool for Your Love, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now, here's a classic one, Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins. I don't know many people who like hard rock, especially 80s hard rock, who don't like that song. I loved that song when I first heard it. I still like it today. Of course, Kenny Loggins quite well known for doing lots of soundtrack work. Also on my playlist I put Crazy Horses by the Osmonds. Now Crazy Horses is a heavy song for the 70s, full stop, but then you add in the fact it's by the Osmonds, that's quite something. So it's kind of a well-known song, but check that one out. Also Helter Skelter, of course, by the Beatles. When you listen to the Motley Crue version, to me it doesn't really sound that much different, so quite ahead of its time. They were, obviously the Beatles, such a classic band, but that's an interesting one, isn't it? When they really sort of switch from, they could switch styles, couldn't they? But that's pretty much as close to heavy metal at the time that you could hear when that came out. Next one, I've got two songs from Laura Branigan. Now you wouldn't think she's hard rock, but when you think about it, Self Control, that has quite a hard rock riff in it, and also Living a Lie. Check that out. That's kind of melodic hard rock. AOR, check those 2 songs out. I think they are an example of pop artists doing some hard rock. Also, Door to Door, that's quite a rocking song by The Cars. Check that out. And finally, I've gone for sort of a more recent, more a well-known current sort of pop artist. Ed Sheeran has a song called Blow, which I don't really follow Ed Sheeran at all, but here we go. There is actually he has actually done a hard rock song, which I quite like, and so it's called Blow. So that's on the spot. That's on the Spotify playlist as well. Okay, so that's the ones I've managed to come up with. If you know of some pop/rock artists who've gone and done a hard rock/metal song, let me know about it because I'd love to hear it. Alright, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you didn't mind the sound effects in the background. That is good old Wellington weather, and it's raining quite a bit at the moment, so hope that wasn't too distracting. Alright, we'll catch you later. See ya.